Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to talk about why realistic thinking is actually hurting you and it's not helping you and it might be keeping you stuck. Every time I talk about this topic, people get enthralled. They really like it. They want to hear more. So I figured why not bring it onto the podcast where I can just really freely go about this. So, if you're someone who you feel like it's really hard to believe without proof, if you're someone who you've been going towards your goals, but you can't figure out why you haven't hit them, if you're a logical, a realistic, analytical girly who really likes to think realistically, this is also going to be for you. Let's dive right in. I know that my listeners, I know that my community, my people, the girls that I love, they want really big, audacious, unrealistic success. And that takes a lot of forms. And even at Unlimited, which is my group program, some girls, they want travel around the world. They want to make $50,000, $100,000 per month. They really want to be financially rich. They want to be rich in every sense of the word. I also have clients who they just really want to write a book. They really, really want to believe in themselves enough to write a couple fiction novels. Or I have clients who unrealistic success and having a very rich life, having having the audacity to create what they want looks like just building this oasis at home where they get to play video games and hang out with their kids. And so when I say audacious, unrealistic success, I've defined this so many times, but it really is at the end of the day, the kind of success, the rich life. And when I say rich, it doesn't have to be financial, it's just fulfilling, alive. It's really you building a life that you haven't really fully believed is possible for you. That's how I define unrealistic success. So, why this matters in context of this episode is because you cannot have unrealistic success while keeping your realistic thinking. They do not coexist together. I mean, just think about it. Unrealistic success, realistic thinking, the math don't math on that, okay? And why I think unrealistic success is stunting you, is hurting you, is because most of the time we think that if we think realistically, then we won't get our hopes up. If we think realistically, then we won't be called out. If we think realistically, then we can have a plan and follow the plan and all these things. Realistic thinking in all of those instances is you very likely operating out of fear. It is thinking that has resulted from fear. Realistic thinking is often just a protection mechanism that is keeping you from experiencing things like shame and disappointment. And it's you trying to keep yourself safe and in your comfort zone. And if we really define what is realistic thinking, so we can talk a little bit and be on the same page with this, realistic thinking is usually us thinking only as big as our current circumstances. It is thinking based on our current reality. It is thinking that is derived from either what is going on around us and seems feasible and plausible for our current reality, or it is often also based on the past. What has happened in the past? If that has happened in the past, then I can project it onto right now in the future, and that's realistic. It's thinking within the box. It's staying in your comfort zone. If you can only think as big as your current reality, then you will keep your current reality. Like if your brain can only get behind things that you can feasibly base off of what's happened in the past or what you have right now, you're going to have more of the same. It just adds up, it just makes sense. But if you want unrealistic success, which is success that requires you to really believe in yourself, success that you might not currently believe is possible, but you want to believe is possible. It is this big, audacious thing, whatever it looks like, whatever form it takes. Writing the book, making millions, having an oasis at home where you get to just have a lot of free time with your family, whatever. If I really define what realistic thinking is, it is thinking and believing in accordance to what is in our current reality, or also what's happened in the past that we think will continue, we project onto the future. So, what realistic thinking actually is you only thinking as big as your current circumstances. If I can only believe in something if I have proof of it, that's also what it is. You believing of what you have proof of, projecting the past on the future because you have proof of that, or based on what's around you in your current reality. And if you can only think as big as what's happened to you in the past or what is currently going on with you as your current reality, you're going to stay there. You're going to maintain and uphold your current reality. But again, if you want unrealistic success, you want this big life, this big success, whether that be you write the novel, you make millions, or you have a life where you get to spend hours and hours per day with home with your kids, whatever, you have to think outside the box. You have to be able to believe in something bigger. But you cannot believe in something bigger if you are gripping on to realistic thinking and trying to think realistically. And the reason people try and think realistically is because they are afraid. They're afraid of experiencing disappointment. They're afraid of finding out that they're not good enough. They're afraid that if they put themselves out there, people will judge them. So it's easier to stay in your comfort zone, to stay in your little box where people won't judge you, where you won't get upset, where you won't experience disappointment. And so that is why people think realistically. But fucking newsflash, if you are thinking realistically, you're already very likely experiencing disappointment and shame and all these things that you're trying to avoid because you're not believing in yourself enough to try and go after them. You're not believing in bigger when you want to. There is such a high correlation between someone who is committed to thinking realistically and experiencing self doubt. Because basically, what's happening and why there's such a high correlation in my mind is because if you are committed to being logical and practical and thinking linearly with your success and I can't succeed fast, this is how things will go, this is how it's going to happen, you projecting, which is often realistic thinking, you automatically are going to experience self doubt around your really big goals because they haven't happened yet. They're big, they're exciting, they're going to require some belief, but realistic thinking keeps you in that box. Realistic thinking, when you try and go outside that box and believe in something more, it shoves you right back in and it's like, well, we don't have proof of that and that seems unlikely I can't really get behind that. And so you start doubting that you can have those big, audacious, unrealistic success goals and dreams. And I'm someone who I really, really would I would straight up actually, I would straight up shame myself into thinking realistically when I was younger. So I would have these really big, beautiful beliefs. And then I would say, well, that's not realistic. You've never done that before. Who do you think you are to do that? You couldn't possibly do that. Like I would come up with all these reasons why that my really big goals were unrealistic and why I shouldn't have unrealistic goals. But really I was just afraid. I was operating out of fear. I was really afraid to get my hopes up. Instead of operating from I don't need I don't need proof to believe. I just believe it can happen. I believe I'm enough. I can believe I can put my head down and do the work. I want it, so I'm going to create it. It doesn't matter that it's unrealistic. It doesn't matter that it's never happened before. It doesn't matter that I don't have proof. I want it, and I believe that I'm good enough to go after it and create it. And I often have clients or just people in my audience say, well, but isn't realistic thinking good? And, isn't it good to be realistic about this? Or the other thing I get a lot, I like get really excited when people give me this one. People think that by having this like more delusional self-belief and really having this high belief and thinking and setting unrealistic goals, that it's going to make them do things like quit their job and sell their car. It's always the examples I give that people, you really think that if you do that, you're going to suddenly go off the rails and go do all these things. And then because you weren't realistic, you get yourself in trouble. And I always say, like, I don't know what in the hell would have you do that? Like, that's not what you're going to do. Because the thing is that you believing that more is available will have you move like more is available. It's not going to make you go sell your car. And what that is at the root when people say that is fear that bad things will happen when you believe in yourself. But what you're not understanding is that when you believe in yourself, you have your own back more. People's opinions don't hurt you. You believe in yourself, you go after what you want. If you do fall down, you're able to get right back up and say that I've got this, it's no big deal, and not attach meaning to it. You're able to go farther, make more money, have a richer life in all forms of the meaning. And you keep going. You believe in what you can create, you create it. So when people are afraid that if they're not realistic, they're going to just like go berserk and shit, that's not true. But you grappling and gripping on to this idea that you have to think realistically is only actually you thinking small. It is you trying to succeed within your comfort zone. It is your ego trying to protect you. It is you thinking that if I just dip my toes in and if I just believe a little bit, that's going to get me to this really big success. But unrealistic success, high levels of success, and trying to be logical and practical and realistic and not get your hopes up and only thinking as big as what you already have will simply keep you where you are, or at best, slower success. My dad said this to me the other day, and I really liked it, where he said something along the lines of, you don't read books about pessimists and small thinkers. You read books and watch movies and look up to people who are wildly optimistic and believed in something really big, something much bigger than themselves. Everyone who has what you want had to believe in themselves to get there, had to bring their belief above their current reality. So that's the other thing that I really want to talk about here is that when you're in realistic thinking, you're fighting to be realistic with yourself, which is really just you're wanting to invest more in your doubt. What is happening is at best, your beliefs are in line with your current reality. As I said, it means that you can only believe in what you're seeing. So if you're making, for example, $15,000 a month and you want to be making 30, but that seems unrealistic, then what's going to happen? And you're trying to fight to be realistic. Well, I don't want to get my hopes up and I don't want to believe in that because it's like kind of crazy to think that I could double that like that, whatever. What's going to happen is that every time you want to believe in it, you knock yourself down a couple pegs because you don't want to get your hopes up. You want to be quote unquote realistic. So you will make it harder for yourself to achieve that unrealistic success because you're unwilling to bring your beliefs higher than what is in line with your current 15K ish and however you've created that. So even if it took 3 to 5 years, let's say, for you to get to $15,000 months, then you're also probably projecting with your realistic thinking that it's going to take a while to get to the 30. It's going to be hard to get to the 30. That's just your realistic thinking and operating from a place of projecting what you know onto what's possible. You are projecting what you know and what you've experienced and what is in line with the people around you, your environment, your current reality onto the future. What you need to do, and all that I'm really saying here, is you need to get your beliefs above your current levels of success. Let's say your beliefs are here and what you want requires you to get your beliefs up here. Then the only way for you to get there is to raise your beliefs to those levels. You have to get your beliefs above your current levels of success rather than only believing in what you have proof for. If you struggle to believe without proof, it's probably why your success is slow. If you've been earning the same amount for a while, or you've been the same weight for a while when you're wanting to lose weight, or you've been single for a while when you've really been craving a relationship, you very likely have thoughts around why you can't have that body, around why you can't have that income, around how you can't have the kind of relationship you want, or there's no good people left for you, right? It's because your beliefs. So, thinking realistically, trying to be realistic, while it might avoid one form of disappointment, of, for example, and truly the only disappointment I can think of putting yourself out there and getting rejected or not having it happen, what you're also doing by thinking realistically is experiencing the disappointment. So, you're just experiencing a different disappointment of not being willing to put yourself out there. But on top of that, you're very likely experiencing shame and scarcity and fear and lack in your life. it's a hell of a lot more uncomfortable to think realistically than it is to believe in yourself and be wildly, stupidly, audaciously unrealistic. Nothing bad happens when you do that. And again, when sometimes I get clients who really want to fight me on this, and I love it. I love when their doubt comes at me because there's going to be growth on the other side of that. So I'm usually pretty cool with that. Things that I will hear is that, okay, Mackenzie, fine, fine. I don't like you right now, but fine. If I start to be unrealistic and really what you're saying is just raise my beliefs, what if people say something to me? What if people call me out? What if I can't create what I want and you're wrong? Things like that. But the thing that they're not understanding is that to even get to a place where you are putting yourself out there, where people would call you out, where those things happen, you would have to have grown your belief to do it. And when you grow your belief, those things stop bothering you because now you got belief. Now you got confidence. So when someone says something about you of that's unrealistic, you get to say, I know. I don't care. I want it and I believe I can make it happen. There were so many people, countless people. Oh, I couldn't even tell you. I could write a list for you of all the names of people who told me I was being unrealistic when starting my business, that I shouldn't leave my job, that I couldn't possibly make multiple six figures my first year, that I wasn't going to be able to keep growing at this rate year after year, that it was a one-time thing, that I shouldn't do a mastermind, that it is reckless for me to do what I do. Like people had so many fucking opinions. And not even people close to me, just people existing that happened to know what I was doing. And my current reality would have said that they were right. Realistic thinking would have said I couldn't do it. But realistic thinking kept me where I was, unhappy, unfulfilled, insecure for the prior 5 years of my life. Realistic thinking didn't really get me anywhere. But raising my belief, becoming audaciously confident, believing in myself, and building the skills to be able to create that unrealistic success did. And I'd already built the confidence. So people having whack opinions, which honestly, their opinions were valid if you think realistically, if I was trying to be realistic. But me having belief didn't make it feel reckless. It didn't make it feel risky. It didn't make me feel like I was doing something crazy. It just made me feel like I was going after what I really wanted with confidence. And every single person was wrong. Every single person was wrong. The other thing I'm not going to go too deep into here is that, and I go really deep into this actually in one of my courses, Relentless, and you also get that inside of Unlimited. It's this idea that realistic thinking often stems from being in some sort of survival mode and scarcity mode where we have to just survive. And when we're in survival mode, we can't think bigger than our current circumstances because our current circumstances say that there's a lion out there. So if there's like, let me say, what I mean by that is that that was probably out of left field. When we were cavemen, our survival mechanisms would kick in when we needed to survive, and that has us thinking on our current reality, our what the time that we have available, our bodies, and our environment. And so when survival mode is on, if there was a lion nearby because you're a caveman, let's say, you don't have capacity or ability to go think about maybe I should go find a bigger cave right now. Like that's not available. You're not thinking, oh, I want a better life in a bigger cave. No, you're just trying to fucking hunker down your current reality to make sure that that lion doesn't find you. But that's what's happening with a lot of us is because we're in such scarcity in our lives from experiencing so much doubt and from experiencing dysregulation, we get unintentionally into survival mode and therefore only think realistic. We can only believe as much as what we see. We fight for our doubt. We fight for our limitations. That's a whole other conversation that you can come join my course there Unlimited and we'll go so much deeper in that. But I want you to really own if you have realistic thinking going on and ask yourself, why am I fighting so hard to think only as big as my current circumstances when I want so much more? Ask yourself, what am I so afraid of? And what do I need to do what Mackenzie says and build my belief far above my current levels of success? Because that is the recipe, that is the formula That is the way to create unrealistic success like you freaking want and you are enough for, you are worthy for, you are capable of, and you are powerful enough to create. If you're into this, if you're like, yes, I want to up my belief, I want to up my confidence, I am realizing that there is so much more out there for me, there's so much more available to me, then here's what I want you to do. You're going to go to the show notes. I have 3 free trainings that is deep diving into how to really become this audacious person, how to really step into that audacious self belief and start to really get out of that realistic thinking and into audacious dreaming, that delusional self belief, into the place where you feel safe enough and believe in yourself enough to get into that confidence and start going after things you want and making them happen really fast. These are 3 trainings for free. It's so, so good. They're going to be so amazing. I'm really trying to make it so that these trainings give you everything you need to become the richest, hottest, most happy, confident version of yourself this year. So you go download those. And Unlimited, my group program for female founders and really helping you build audacious self belief and the skills to build unrealistic success, is opening in August. And we're now going to be rolling enrollment, which means you can join anytime. And this program is so well known. We have over 1,000 wins. Every single client becomes a minimum of 25% financially and emotionally richer. Clients do such beautiful things inside. They really do, because we operate on the premise that emotional wealth builds financial wealth. The premise that really, the more confident you are, the better you feel, the more you trust yourself, the more regulated you are, the more that you can build financial wealth and just really build anything, anything you want in life. And my clients on this have really been able to do crazy things. They have gone from running a small business that was barely bringing in 60K a year to writing best-selling books, selling 2 million in sales, and starting to earn 60K in like 2 months. We have clients who have moved abroad. They were living in a country where they could barely afford, to do anything in USD. The conversion rate was so horrible, but we ended up building their belief so that they can charge in USD through their business, and they ended up moving abroad. That's so beautiful. We have clients who have 3 to 5x their income inside simply by believing in themselves more, getting out of the doubtful thinking, the unrealistic or the realistic thinking, and into unrealistic thinking. And they've built second businesses. I've had clients go from earning $450 a month and barely scraping by in their business to earning $50,000 in 6 months. Like, it's just story after story, because there is so much power and so much that can happen when you realize you're enough, you can be confident, you are capable. And when you start showing up like that, it's amazing what freaking miracles can happen in your life. So inside of Unlimited, we have weekly coaching calls. You can get coached by me every single day. I love it. It's so much fun in there. We have such a good, powerful community. Women say this alone is worth the investment. It changes their life because they meet friendships for life. They meet people who they never thought they would meet. I have girls who, even after joining Unlimited, they're going to meet up with each other right now across the world. One is literally flying across the world to go meet the other one, which is so exciting. So it's a really beautiful, tight-knit community of women just supporting you and believing in you from the freaking second that you step in that room. And you also get my entire product suite. You get all my courses, you get 80 plus trainings, you got all past call replays. You have so much there to really help you build the skill set, the mentality, and the confidence to go after what you want and create it with ease, with speed, and with such magnitude to get that unrealistic success. So that is also opening if you're interested. And of course, I always have my confidence formula membership, Audacious, where I teach you the basics of how to build confidence, how to get really confident, how to manifest more in your life. And that is $99 a month. It's the vibe of just throw in your headphones, listen to some videos, and you're going to get confident. There's not as much coaching there as the hands-on, very immersive experience of Unlimited, the group program. But all of those are available right now. Make sure to snag that free training either way. And I cannot wait to catch you in the next episode.